This will be hands down the most epic videos you've ever seen. Let's just start.
I knew I stopped eating these for a reason. Okay, so I really wonder what this is. It don't look like nothing I would ever eat.
What's this?
Some kind of jello, probably some candy. But they in hazmat suits. This is how food made. Hold on. This better not be nothing that I eat. It look like a brownie. No. It's too hard for that. Okay, now it's a powder. Okay, this looks like eggs. What the heck? How they turn a brownie into this?
Noodles?
Hold on. This is ramen. Y'all done went too far.
This is how they make it.
No. I know you lying. This not even food. What is this?
What are we
Streamer
eating?
Kai Cenat just lost a massive partnership. Nike has decided to end their partnership with Kai Cenat over what happened with the bathroom incident. If you are not familiar with what happened, Kai walked in on his friend Rakai, who is 16 years old, while he was using the restroom. Now, obviously, most people would say this sounds like a prank, this sounds like just foolishness. Nike wasn't here for it. Nike didn't find it funny, and they decided that that was too much for them, and they didn't want to be associated with it. So, in a crazy move, crazy to me, they've decided to end their partnership with Kai Cenat. And this is why I say it's crazy. This man is on top of the world. The only person hotter than Kai Cenat is IShowSpeed.
Yeah, right.
And we always see streamers and personalities and influencers and content creators doing this type of stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to apologize for it. I'm not trying to make excuses for it. I'm just saying this is what they do. And sometimes they take it too far. This almost makes me wonder, what is Nike really doing? Is this really about Kai and some stupid joke? Or are they trying to end certain relationships? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more trending news in under 3 minutes, you just gotta follow.
What's going on? What's that? Vancouver, Canada. What's going on? Looks like a human form. What's that?
What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Kai here, aka What's going on YouTube? It's your boy
Stream
Kai
19.
here, aka Kai Cenat. Your boy's in college now. Oh yo, by the way, I got a tat. My life revolves around a camera. Everywhere I go, I have to have the camera. What's going on YouTube? It's your boy Kai here, aka Kai Cenat. I'm not gonna make the intro too long, you feel me? We are back here. I know y'all been waiting for another video. After all this time, after all today, we finally are about to stream. You know what I'm saying? I know I go crazy with the streams. I don't have me on Twitch. Go to the link in the description down below. This is gonna be the first stream in the AMP house.
No. He literally told you not to do this.
This is literally the first night. And this is a danny thing. But I'm very excited to finally be in. I just closed down on a crib earlier this year, so 2 cribs in 1 is fine.
Okay.
Now yeah, y'all definitely know where I'm at right now. So today is the big day. In a few hours, this guy right here will be landing in the US for the first time, bro. Got it! Yeah, this is literally the start to seeing my boy Ray graduate. I'm not gonna lie, clap it up for my boy Ray. I usually come on there hype as and and ready to go with energy and stuff, but I'm here taking the time to reflect on what's going on. Like, my boy Ray is really graduating. I'm tripping. Chat, I don't know if y'all understand this, but 2 days ago, this is why God works in mysterious ways. This is why I tell y'all, bro, a lot of this, it can't be done without the Lord above.
So I took my little break, my little Wusa Hakuna Matata break, and now I come back and I find out that Skywatchers is actually not only going to have a UAP on live, like summon a UAP, which they've already done a couple times, and it's kind of underwhelming because we're so used to seeing like all the really cool videos on TikTok and stuff. So when we see one from far away that's being summoned, we're not as, excited about it. Either way, this time what they're saying they're going to do is they're going to summon it to land on live, and I am very excited about this because the government, there's no way that the government can cover this up unless it looks like a drone. I mean, obviously I hope it doesn't look like a drone, and I'm sure there could be a lot of other reasons that this could be happening. I think that it does also, and this is just my thoughts for entertainment purposes only, I think it ties into the government not wanting to come forward and be fully honest, because if they were fully honest about the UAPs and the reverse engineering, then they'd also have to be honest about all the bad stuff that they did to, keep that under wraps and other things, which I would also like to see them take accountability for, but that's going to be in time. If it happens, we will find out. Either way, this is very exciting. I almost spilled my coffee. This is very exciting. I am really hoping that they actually have one land. And how cool would it be if something actually got out of it? I think a lot of them are unmanned. I do. And then there's the plasmoids, and the plasmoids obviously are their own being. It's what they are. They're a plasmoid. So no one rides around in the plasmoid. But this is really cool, and I'm really excited. So I'm going to be there to watch it, and I will let you know what happens. I would recommend that you see it too, though, because it's really easy for people to like do stuff and change something and make it look more exciting than it is. But if you see it on live, then you've actually seen it. I'm really excited about this. Okay, anyway.
This has to be one of the most disturbing magazine articles that I've ever read in my life. Trigger warning, what I'm about to go over is incredibly graphic and disturbing. Brooke Shields is a very famous American actress, and she really rose to fame in the late 1960s and 70s. And that was because Hollywood producers gave her a number of high-profile roles in films where she was asked to go completely nude. And I'm talking fully nude with full glam on as a 10, 11-year-old. So this issue of High Times magazine was published in February of 1978. Brooke at the time would have been about 13 years old. And here's the article in question itself. I'm just going to read you some of these quotes. The most perfect nymphette in creation has been found in America. Her name is Brooke Shields. She's a sultry mix of all-American virgin and innocent whore. She's the hottest new young thing in movies, destined to be the sex symbol of 1964. Here they talk about a role she played in a film and say she's a female child raised on a diet of cock money. And down there, Brooke is devastating as a little lady who fucks and sucks for bucks. Also, they print that quote really big here, and she's in a picture with a known pedophile, Woody Allen. They also said Brooke's looks have been her business all her young life, extraordinarily beautiful even as an infant. She's been playing the prepubescent vamp since she was 8. At that tender age, she dropped her Carters for a photographer and posed nude. Producers literally held their breaths, waiting for the remarkable Brooke Shields to reach a reasonable age of fuckability. Not yet legal, but oh so sweet. Welcome to the end of innocence, Brookie. So, if this isn't the most disturbing thing that you've ever read, something is definitely wrong with you. They're talking about a very young Brooke Shields here. Like I said, she was only 13 years old at the time. And in these films and in these photos that they're talking about in this article, she was only 11, 10 years old. I cannot believe that this was published in a nationally known magazine like the High Times, and that nobody got in trouble for this. In my opinion, we should retroactively go back in time and arrest these people for publishing things like this about her. It's absolutely mind-blowing to me. I mean, I can't even believe that this is real. Now, obviously, I know that there are going to be some people who comment on this video and say, oh, times used to be different. You know, child pornography technically wasn't a problem and wasn't made illegal, blah, blah, blah. And to people who say that, honestly, fuck off. Because there is no excuse for an article like this to ever have been not only written, but then published. I can't imagine what this had to have been like being Brooke Shields if she ever read this at that age. Thankfully, though, Brooke did get out of the system and managed to live a happy life, but she has done a number of interviews and talked about this before, saying how much stuff like this really messed her up. And not only does Hollywood owe Brooke Shields an apology, I personally feel that some of these people should be investigated to this day. Clearly, at minimum, the guy who wrote that article about Brooke.
All right, we got some
Yeah,
fucked
crazy.
up breaking news that is not good for anybody in America. This is insane. China, basically, a few days ago, China in a state meeting said they are going to roll back they're going to stop prosecuting theft of American intellectual property. America is fucked. Like, Trump doesn't know what maybe he knows, but America, if you don't know what's going on, China makes the best counterfeit anything. So American government had to come to an agreement with the Chinese government to get the Chinese government to start policing the Chinese citizens to stop making counterfeit American everything. Because here's the thing, an American Gucci bag that costs $3,000, China can make the exact same thing and sell it for $200. Everything America can make, China can steal that intellectual property, make the exact same thing and sell it for pennies on the dollar and absolutely destroy American industry. So for years, America and China had an agreement that China would police its people and stop them from doing that, so that it will not destroy the American economy. Well, China has decided, you know what, if you're going to keep doing these tariffs, here's what we're going to do. We're no longer going to enforce that law. So now, what does that mean? That means that by summer, everything that's made in America, you will find a bootleg version coming out of China. Everything that you can buy that is American made, there's going to be a cheaper version
crazy.
coming out of China very soon.
Yo, what is nubbin? If you don't know what it is, you've got to see this. This shit is the future. What? No way. Insane. What? Crazy.
Damn.
There's actually a website and everything for this. You know you have to get this.
Like when it happens every time I smoke, but this last time, this sister right here, she was like, oh, if you keep putting it, like, you won't feel it. Because everybody around me was like, oh, that doesn't work. So the last time, like, I literally did it with, what? I hit it, like, 8 times. Like, this time.
8 times?
Like, after I remember I hit it like 8 times. I walked inside to my kitchen, to my house, and that's when I knew it was happening. And my sister, Evan, my twin sister, she knows what I feel like at night. So I went up to her room and I was like, and I know this sounds crazy, but she was playing Fortnite, and I remember, like, I thought I was in the game. It's like it's so just shrooms. That's what I feel. But it's scary. It's a super scary feeling. And then it just like went on the whole night. And after that time, like I got stuck in the high, and that's called depersonalization and depersonalization. Like after so I smoked and I got that high. So I fell asleep and I woke up and I still felt high. Yeah, and I got stuck in it.
You still high?
Yes, I feel high every single day.
That's why your eyes be open?
Maybe that's
Damn.
to my eyes being like that.
Really?
Yeah, but it's a very scary thing.
So you high forever?
Like like I don't know if people feel like that when they're high, but basically like everything just seems like I'm watching. So like I'm not
now you
really.
think you're watching movies.
Yeah. So like everything is just like I'm just there.
When did this happen?
Like 4 years old.
Maybe that's a secret to your success. Maybe
Donald
Yeah.
Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago, according to White House official. There it is. That's his blog. He said, President Donald Trump converted to Judaism 2 years ago and joined Chabad Lubavitch Synagogue in New York City, according to a high-level White House official. Mr. Goldberg says the story has allegedly been held by CNN's editors for months, but is due to be released within the next few days. David Elias Goldberg, a fellow at the Jewish Center of Anti-Semitic Study, has also interviewed the White House source. According to the source, Trump was pushed by his daughter Ivanka and son-in-law Jared Kushner to join the faith. At first, Trump resisted, stating it would threaten his base of evangelical Christian voters. However, he had a change of heart and officially converted in early 2017. The ceremony
I
was
didn't know
held in
that.
private
It's crazy.
and closely guarded for nearly 2 years. It appears the White House is prepared to slowly release this information, and by summer, it is expected Trump will fully address his new faith in an evening televised news conference. He is clearly the most pro-Israel president in the history of America. He's given Israel every single thing that they've wanted, and he's about to give them war with Iran. And so, has he converted? So, I want to show you one more article. This is, let me see if I can.
This is Times of Israel.
Yeah, the Times of Israel. This was published March 22nd, 2019. This is the Times of Israel. Trump, the first Jewish president of the United States.
Now, that's not us saying that. That's Times of Israel.
Oh, but I thought Joe
Times
Biden
of
was
what
also
nation?
Jewish.
Israel.
So the people in Israel, that's an English-speaking newspaper in Israel, and that's what they read, that Donald Trump is the first Jewish president of the United States.
And how did they qualify that, Rick?
They gave a list of things that he did for Israel.
First one, of course, moving the embassy to Jerusalem.
That's right.
That was a big deal.
Then recognizing Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights.
Damn. Oh.
This is everything that happened on the news today, but it's going to be simplified in 60 seconds. This new study is now showing that drinking water directly from plastic bottles is now linked to high blood pressure. Okay. So this study found a possible connection between drinking from plastic bottles and elevated blood pressure because microplastics may enter your bloodstream. They're currently recommending to cut back on plastic bottles until they can do more research. The most disturbing website on the internet can now find almost every single picture that exists of you.
Oh,
Whoa.
really?
Actually covered
What?
this a really long time ago, but a bunch
Really?
of people are just now finding out about it, but the website is called PimEyes. Basically, all you have to do is enter a photo of yourself on the website, and it will literally search the entire internet for every single picture that exists of you. The man who took the most viewed photo ever explained how he did it. So this is the photo that's in question. Obviously, everybody knows what this is. It's the Microsoft background. The guy said that he was using a Mamiya RZ67 camera with a color Fujifilm and a tripod. And that's it. This massive new telescope could find alien life in hours, as it's set to transform the way we search for life beyond Earth. So this is the telescope located in Chile. They're currently
Hey,
building it, but
this
it's
is
called
big.
the
This is
ELT,
huge.
Extremely Large Telescope. This telescope is not going to be ready until possibly December of 2030.
Okay,
I give
there's
you
a
these
lot of
news
time.
roundups
5 years
every day,
is-
so
that's
make
no
sure
time.
you add me and come back to me tomorrow.
So y'all was using this in 25 BC?
Yeah. So you can try this. How to use that.
Wait, I can drink. Wait, is it water?
Yeah, you can drink it.
Chat, I can drink 2,000-year-old water? Oh, I want to try.
You can get water from yourself.
I can drink 2,000-year-old water from China.
And then you have to show how to use this.
First, I want to give questions. You want to know? There were two hosts. Why?
2 hoes,
Hosts of the West.
hot and cold.
Donald Trump's plans for the economy would accelerate inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Donald Trump's plans would weaken our economy, would inflate inflation, and would bring a recession on by the middle of next year. Increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. Increase inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Exasperate inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Bring about a recession by the middle of next year. Would ignite inflation and invite a recession by the middle of next year. Those are the facts. I'm not here, so.
Yeah, and it's happening.
How you doing, by the way? Oh, I'm fine. I'm fine. Let me take my glasses off just to see if you look the way everybody says you look.
That's creepy.
On everything I love, Stevie Wonder does FaceTime me. I can't make this shit up. I went boop, and he was like, "Nigga, I've been looking for you." Get the fuck out of here!
It was 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Why did this guy beat all 3 of us, whipped our ass in air hockey? I said, I don't care what you say, motherfucker, you can see.
Right. We lived in the building on Wilshire. Door opens. It's Stevie Wonder. He comes in, says, "What's up, Shaq?" Presses the button. Hold on, it's your story. Presses the button, gets off on the floor, buys something, goes to his room.
I go over to his house, and he says, "I got a record I want you to hear." So he pulls the cassette, he says, "Come go with me in the car." And he goes on the driver's side. He said, "Get it on the passenger side." I get on the passenger side. He cranks the car, he puts it in reverse, and starts down the driveway. I said, "Stevie!" He goes, "I got you."
Stevie flew me to Tobago one time for a jazz festival that he was producing. I'm on stage with Chris Tucker and Johnny Gill. Chris Tucker and I are Johnny Gill's background dancers. Stevie walks on stage, walks to me, looks me dead in my eye and says, "Anthony, get me to a piano." I was like, "Stevie, well, hell, if you just walked to me, you could have walked to the piano." He caught himself.
It took me 40 years to realize that my sister was my biggest hater. You ever wonder why people resent you but try to keep you close? It's not love, it's projection. When people can't stand on their business and do the hard work of facing themselves and facing their wounds, they use other people around them to project their shadows onto. If you suspect that you have a secret hater in your circle, pay very close attention to what they accuse you of. These people tell on themselves.
The biggest pyramid is in Indonesia. I think they found one. And there's another huge one that's in Europe, right in Bosnia. I think it's Bosnia. But they're all over the place. They all had the gold up there that was shooting all the energy up in there. The energy was hitting up there, kind of like we do with communications and SEALs and NEVIS, the near vertical incendiary skywave. So it shoots up like that, it hits, and it goes like this. And all that energy is just being pushed up into the atmosphere. And then in amber amber that they find real deep, and they find it, and they can take the atmosphere, because amber traps whatever atmospheric conditions are on Earth at that time, and then they can test it and see how old it is through whatever other stuff is trapped in there, organics. So I know that this amber is 5,000 years old, and inside of this amber is a little bit of air trapped. And then they test that atmosphere inside the air, and what is it made up of? It's not the same atmosphere we're breathing right now. There's way more oxygen. And way more energy in the atmosphere.
If I was a gambling man, just looking at things with my tinfoil hat, you know, if rich people knew something, it wouldn't all happen at once. It would happen slowly over time because they wouldn't want to scare the people that they're keeping out of the loop. So you do a little bit here and there, a little bit every day, a little bit every month. By the time they figure out what's going on, it's too late. Seems like a lot of institutional money is leaving one place and going to another place. It just seems like that to me. And once the money transfer is complete, then the new assets will have to raise in price so that the wealth transfer can be complete. You understand? But if you really understand, like, do you understand? Okay? We're not talking little people like me. We're talking millionaires, billionaires, people you don't even know the names of, right? What happens when you own a hedge fund or whatever? You take $53 million, right? You take $100 million. and you buy an asset at $2. Okay, you buy an asset at $2 and you spend 500 mil, whatever. And that asset then goes up to $1,000.
Damn. That's huge.
What happens to your millions? That's what's happening. And you're not even seeing people taking money out of one account and putting it into another very, very slowly and sneakily, you dig?
A man who struggles with a father wound will have a never-ending hunger for success. He'll also never trust that anyone will love him outside of his achievements. Maybe he was judged a lot when he was a little boy, or he was only seen when he did something right. Maybe his dad just wasn't there for him, and so he grows up thinking, well, if I just do enough, someone will actually stay. He works hard, he builds a life, but deep down, he feels like he's still not enough. He wants connection, but he doesn't actually believe it's real. And so he just pushes people away to see who's actually going to stay. His life is built on performance, and so he attracts people who are only there for the image. And when they leave, damn well hurts. He's left alone, the wound gets deeper, and he's still got that narrative saying, I'm not good enough.
Crazy.
The amount of look at this. The amount of respect that they show Bibi Netanyahu. He's got them all lined up. Rubio was there. Pete was there. Everybody gets in line for this guy. What does that tell you? Look at this. Don't worry, sir. Here, let me get that for you. Go ahead, sit down. The largest recipient of taxpayer money right here. And he walks in as if he owns the place. If that doesn't tell you, I don't know what does, yo. If that doesn't tell you what's going on, I don't know what does. Damn, the United States of America. Damn.
Oh, so you thought what was discovered under the Great Pyramids was a one-off thing and we were going to be done with it? Well, guess again, because what was just discovered under Angkor Wat in Cambodia might just blow your minds. And if you guessed the exact same structures that are underneath the pyramids, well then you guessed correctly. Because yes, these scans have indicated the exact same type structures underneath Angkor Wat in Cambodia. Now, here's the thing. Some suppressed scripts have been translated stating that Angkor Wat was never built for religious purposes. It was in fact grown by an advanced race known as the Star Kings. We're not going to go into that in this video, but here's the other thing. It also states that Angkor Wat is one of 4 World Engine sites. One of 4 meaning Angkor Wat, the Great Pyramids, Teotihuacan, and a site that's submerged under the coast of India, off the coast of India. Now, these world engines were meant to ignite during a cosmic alignment, therefore opening a world portal to what is below. I don't know what's below, but I think that's fantastic. Now, these also were supposed to allow everlasting world energy throughout our entire world, as well as transportation and healing. So I find this to be absolutely fantastic news because I believe in the days to come, or at least the months to come, we're going to find out that all these religious sites aren't religious sites, but they're portals. Portals to something beyond our own thought process. Now, tell me what you think. Have you heard this? Drop it in the comments. Remember, I'm not here to tell you to believe one thing or the other, so leave what you will, take what you want. It's up to you. And anything we talk about is for entertainment, education, and learning purposes only, but I want to know what you think because I think a lot of you skepticals are going to be believers soon.
How is this even possible? Have you guys heard of the plane that landed 37 years after taking off? This plane took off in 1955 and didn't land until 1992. Where the hell did it go for 37 years? So in July of 1955, this Pan Am Flight 914, I believe, took off from New York, headed for Miami. It's a clear day, good weather, everything's normal. And then boom, it goes off the radar. No wreckage, no distress signal, nothing, just gone, vanished. Authorities searched for weeks. Okay, they didn't find anything. And it was ultimately just chalked up as like a terrible tragedy. And everybody who was on that plane was declared deceased. Fast forward to 1992, an air traffic control tower in Venezuela gets like an unidentified blip on their radar. It's a plane, it lands, the doors open, and the crew is like visibly confused. Tickets and passports were dated, their clothes were outdated as if they did just fly from New York in the 50s. They tried to bury that story. But the dude that was working in that air traffic control center in Venezuela leaked the log that showed Pan Am Flight 914. I don't understand how that could even happen.
California no longer belongs to the United States. The world is in shock.
That's creepy.
What once seemed like a crazy conspiracy theory is now a confirmed reality. Mexico has just reclaimed California thanks to a secret alliance between Claudia Sheinbaum and Vladimir Putin, a historic move that's rewriting global geopolitics and shaking the foundations of world power. It all began with a dispute over the Gulf of Mexico, but what seemed like a simple territorial disagreement quickly escalated. Sheinbaum and Putin demanded the annulment of the 1848 Treaty of Guadalupe, arguing that the cession of California was unjust and forced. The news exploded. The new Mexican California was celebrated with fireworks, flags, and street caravans. But more than that, Russian troops and Mexican sympathizers were deployed to ensure a peaceful transition of the territory. Meanwhile, the White House remains in tense silence, with no official statements. Leaked reports indicate that the Pentagon is on high alert, assessing the consequences of a possible military intervention. And here comes the most unexpected twist. Classified documents reveal that other border states might be next in line for territorial claims. We're on the brink of an internal fracture in the United States. Do you think California should remain part of the U.S.? We are witnessing the birth of a new global power. Comment California and save this video before it disappears.
Y'all, I just can't with this world anymore. So I just found out about what goes on in Afghanistan and what happens to little boys in Afghanistan. And if you have a soft stomach, you probably want to keep scrolling, okay? This is one of those times where viewer discretion really is advised. So young boys in Afghanistan don't have a real childhood, okay? And what I mean by that is there's a documentary that came out called The Dancing Boys of Afghanistan. And what will happen is that in these villages, they will choose young boys, and typically it'll be a few of them. It'll be one per village, and they'll have this young boy parade himself around to sell himself to all of the men in the village. In each village, one of these boys belong, quote unquote, to the men in the village where they can do whatever they want to them. When I say whatever they want, I mean whatever they want. You could think of what they do to these dancing boys. And they're always just as young as around 7, 8, 9 years old.
That's so young.
So really young little boys. And they will take turns doing you know what to the little boys over and over again, passing the little boy around.
Crazy.
But it lasts until they get old enough to become part of the group of men who does it to the next generation of boys. And it's so bad that they only use women for reproduction. They don't actually care to have them as far as their desires go. They just use them for reproduction. They use the little boys for fun, is what they say. And so the hypersexual, y'all know what I want to say, culture in Afghanistan and in different parts of the Middle East needs to be studied, and these boys need to be saved, because what are we even talking about? And although those of you are going to say, well, this always is going on. This was my first time hearing about it, okay? And this is sickening and disturbing. And like Satan, dude, like his imprint is on the world like no other, bro. This is insane to me.
Uh-oh.
I explore actually wrote about this in 1818. Now, in 1818, explorer Thomas Bowditch goes to the Asante Kingdom. Now, the Asante Kingdom was located in what we now know as Ghana. He gets to the Asante Kingdom, sees flushable toilets, 2-story homes with flushable toilets on the 2nd story, half baths, and a waste and sanitation system that literally blew his mind. He wrote like 2-3 pages on this. That's how surprised he was. Not by the fact that it was Africans doing this, that was partly part of it, but the fact that it even existed in the first place. Now, it wasn't until like the 1850s and 60s when Europeans started using flushable toilets regularly and started having a regular waste and sanitation system. And now this book is a little weird too, and I might talk about this in another video, but this book was actually written under the guise of being an informational book about the Asante Kingdom. But it was actually a playbook on how to colonize the Asante Kingdom. But let's get started and learn something. While he was pretending to be nice with the Asante Kingdom to get all of this information to be able to take over the Asante Kingdom, he also collected all of these items. He has the largest and oldest collection of Asante items from that time. Look at this. Look at all this stuff. Look at them sandals from 1817. He was so perplexed about this whole waste management system that he even drew pictures in detail and painted them. I'll show some of the pictures while I read this mess that he wrote. What surprised me most, and is not the least of the many circumstances deciding their great superiority over the generality of Negroes, was the discovery that every house had its cloaca, toilet, besides the common ones for the lower orders without the town, the public restrooms. They were generally situated under a small archway in the most retired angle of the building, the guest bathroom, but not unfrequently upstairs, the upstairs bathroom, within a separate room like a small closet, where the large hollow pillar also assists to support the upper story, the 2-story house. The holes were of a small circumference, the pipes, but dug to a surprising depth, and boiling water is daily poured down, which effectually prevents the least offense. The rubbish and offal of each house was burnt every morning, waste management, at the back of the street, and they were as nice and cleanly in their dwellings as in their person. Ms. Bowditch's book provided one of the earliest, if not the earliest, account of how African people were living before European colonization for centuries. Now, you want to know what happened to him? Less than 5 years after he lied to the Asante people, lied to the Asante king, pretended that they were going to do trade, he passed that information on to his superiors, who used that information to take over the Asante kingdom. He thought that he provided that information that would give him leverage for better pay and a better position. They said no. He decided that he was going to move to Africa and get his fortunes and terrorize the African people. That same year that he decided to move to Africa, he died from a fever, leaving his wife and children destitute. Hope you learned something new.
In Dubai, you can unalive a female member of your family if she disgraces your family and brings dishonor to them, and you will basically face no legal recourse for it. And it's not just Dubai, it's the whole UAE, where women still need a male guardian's permission to travel and make legal decisions. In 2015, a girl called Zainab was unalived by her brother because he allegedly saw her with a man, and he said that he feared that this relationship would bring dishonor to their family. His family backed him, and the court gave him a very lenient sentence because they said there was mitigating circumstances because it was a cultural honor unaliving. In 2017, a woman who moved to Dubai and started her own business was unable to leave the country because her and her husband were having marital problems, and as her legal guardian now, he was allowed to prevent her from travelling. After spending several weeks detained in the airport, her family fighting legally allowed her to return to her home country. In 2018, a girl called Amal got a really great job offer abroad. She wasn't allowed to go because her father, as her male guardian, has to give permission for her to travel, and he didn't. It took her months and months of having to fight legally for her to be allowed to leave the UAE. It is crazy to me when I see women being so excited to move to Dubai because you've just become a man's property. Not to mention that the country literally runs on slave labour.
Okay, so now you're telling me that one of the things we're being told is that one of the reasons all the plane crashes have been happening is because Earth's North Pole, the same North Pole that's been there since I've been born, I've been alive, has now shifted and has made its way towards Siberia. And if that isn't interesting enough, Siberia, 13 different viruses have been dug up that's been under the ice for a very, very long time. But one of those in particularly is causing a little bit of concern within the scientific community because it's categorized as the zombie virus.
What?
Now, I don't know what in The Last of Us
What's
is happening
going
around
on?
us, but that seems a little bit
Yes,
alarming.
it is alarming.
Yeah. What I've learned in the news today is that the reason the plane crashes are happening is because the North Pole has changed. Now, I don't know how Santa feels about that. I don't know how I feel about that. But have you heard this? Have you not heard this? Let's have this conversation today because I feel like there's a lot to be unearthed here. Unearthed. Pun intended. But drop it in the comments. And once again, anything we talk about is for education, learning, conversation, and entertainment purposes only. But I kind of want to know what you guys think about this.
What I'm about to show you is solitary proof that this man right here, Brandon Biggs, is a watchman of God. There's a YouTube channel, it's called The Last Days. And on his page, he makes videos about what God is essentially telling him. And he says that God tells him these things, and God is telling him to warn all of us. And back in December, I'll show you guys the clip so you guys believe me. Back in December, Brandon Biggs posted about all these trade wars. Keep in mind, President Trump was not even in office until January. How would anyone even know about these trade wars? News was all from today, guys. I mean, China stated it will quote-unquote fight till the end against the United States tariff trade war. Another one, China says it will not bow down to President Trump's new tariff threats. Why can't we all just get along? I'll tell you why. It's because it's God's plan. It's all being played out in front of us, guys. President Trump says that he's potentially adding an additional 50% tariff on China, directed at China, targeting China. So, if that's not proof for you, hold on, let me play this clip for you. December.
There are great trade wars with China and America that are coming. And we depend solely on China for a lot of our goods. And when the tariffs come in, remember what I tell you. There will be a day when China says, we're not sending anything. We're not doing business with you for a while. As a strike. And when this strike takes place, our grocery stores, our Walmarts, our Targets will have nothing in them. I saw shelves with cobwebs in the corners, representing a longer period of time with nothing on them. And they had to take the goods from one store and put it in another store to fill that store up, so that they would have something in it because they had no merchandise to put in it. So they just took from other stores to fill the one store, and they shut that store down.
And we've come to the end of today's videos. Very interesting videos. I mean, we can all see that it was so interesting. You learned something new. I hope you did. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends. And also click on the notification bell icon so that any content that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.